Thank you very much, guys. Joined here on stage by Ambition after that first victory for Samsung. Congratulations. You guys were the underdogs coming in here. RNG has had some very spectacular games so far. How did you manage to win this game?
일단 이번 경기에 들어서면서 이제 삼성이 RNG에 비해 비교적 약체로 꼽히고 있었고 RNG는 아무래도 조선도를 달리고 있었는데 어떻게 경기에 임하셨는지 말씀해 주세요.
일단 저번 경기를 좀 저희가 실수를 많이 해가지고 졌다고 생각해서 저희가 실수를 줄이자라는 생각으로 그냥 열심히 했던 것 같고요. 뭐 집중만 할 수 있으면 저희가 이길 거라고 생각했어요.
We thought that we lost last game against TSM because we made a lot of mistakes. So we focused on minimizing those mistakes, and we thought that as long as we stay focused, and not make as many mistakes as we did against TSM, that we had a good chance to beat RNG.
It also looks like you have a lot of success whenever you play Skarner. It was your lucky charm also in the regionals, and a lot more players seem to have been picking it up. Talk to me about Skarner in this meta, how important it is, and how important he seems to be for you specifically.
그 앰비션 선수 스카너 챔피언을 픽할 때마다 좋은 모습으로 승리를 거두셨는데 저희 그 한국에서나 여기에서나 그 당시에는 이제 앰비션 선수가 거의 처음으로 스카너를 이번 메타에 들이셨는데 지금은 사실 많이 쓰이는 픽입니다. 그 스카너 챔피언이 어떤 챔피언이고 어떻게 사용됐고 지금 어떤 챔피언인지 말씀해 주세요.
그냥 쓸 때마다 좀 생각이 많이 달라지는 챔피언인 것 같아요. 어떨 때는 좋은 것 같기도 하고 어떨 때는 되게 안 좋은 것 같기도 하고. 근데 어쨌든 그 궁인 워낙에 위협적인 그런 스킬이다 보니까 그냥 좀 심리적 부담이라든지 뭐 이런 것들을 되게 좀 많이 줄 수 있는 캐릭인 것 같아요.
I think Skarner is it could be good, it could be bad, but with his ult, it could really give a lot of pressure to the opponents. So in that way, I think it's a very good champion to play.
Okay, it worked out here in Ambition. Of course, you have achieved so much in your career, but this is the very first time that you managed to make it to Worlds. How has the experience been so far, and how far do you think you can get with Samsung?
그 앰비션 선수 지금까지 선수로서 정말 많은 것을 이뤘지만 롤드컵엔 처음 오게 되었습니다. 지금까지 어떤 경험을 하고 있고 어디까지 삼성 팀으로서 어디까지 진출할 수 있다고 믿는지 말씀해 주세요.
저희가 경기를 단판이 되게 오랜만이라서 그냥 좀 단판의 변수들이 좀 무섭긴 한데 만약에 저희가 그런 것들만 잘 이겨내서 극복한다면 저희는 한 4강 정도는 갈 수 있지 않을까 생각하고 있어요.
Actually, we're not that used to best of one, so like there's so many things to consider in playing a best of one. So I think as long as we proceed to the quarterfinals by playing a good week next week, I think can actually aim for the semifinals.
Oh, wow. Big words there. Well, you have a win on the board and looked fantastic in this game. Congratulations, Ambition and Samsung pulling this game out and completely turning the group on its head. Analyst, let's take it away.
Thank you very much, Shucks. That's exactly right. With this win here over RNG, Group D just got very interesting in that we've got three teams tied at 2 and 1 at the top. But in order to break this game down, I want to start in Champion Select here because we had what a lot of teams would look at for RNG as a very dominant composition that we would expect them to be able to just absolutely steamroll the competition with.
Well, I mean, maybe starting out with the Nidalee and you're like, giving Nidalee over to LMOXG, you're crazy. Oh, that guy is awesome on Nidalee. But then they don't draft any frontline. They don't bring an exhaust to reduce any damage, as they said. They have no hard CC that's really easy to land except Cassiopeia ult flashing forward. So they've got a ton of damage. But they have very low defenses and no CC really to help them. Nami Bubble and Cassiopeia ult are very finicky and difficult to have reliable engages with.
Yeah, and honestly, to me, this just looks like a little bit of a disrespectful draft. You're just picking champions that you like, that you know that you can lane well, and maybe expecting to just stomp the game through the laning phase. But once you get to the stage of where you group, who stands in front to actually zone out the Skarner? You have absolutely nobody to actually do anything at that point.
It almost worked one time having Nidalee with Zhonya's in the front because you get Zhonya's for a few seconds, but that's it.
I know you guys are puzzled about the RNG side of things. Samsung, you just have to look at this draft. It's coherent. There's initiation for once. They're not just going for the poke comps. They've definitely been drafting much more towards what RNG are playing this game than their own style. And yet they go to this regional playoffs. They have the core JJ come into the team. They play more initiation. They play it well. And then you just come here and they draft the Jhin. They draft Skarner. The Kennen as a last pick was a masterstroke because you get one pick with the Skarner and then Kennen ults, no way to get to that target deletion. It all followed, it all tracked, but for some reason, it's a core JJ special only.
I want to get Kobe in here real quick.
Well, for some reason, this is almost exactly the same core champions that TSM just drafted, right? The Jin, Skarner, and Karma as the core of the team, and then the double mage solo laners. Very, very similar compositions for both teams, back-to-back wins in the group of death.
Yeah, and the Skarner is really good at just singling at one guy, and we know who you have to single out from RNG. It's got to be Uzi, and they went down to the bottom lane multiple times. And while I would have liked to see Skarner actually just use Flash more aggressively with that 2-0 advantage, the fact that you have to worry about Skarner so much as an AD carry just really slows yourself down. You're going to see in the replay right here, Skarner from the brush, just the hidden Skarner is the deadliest. He's going to be able to actually pick up a double kill, I believe, right here.
Yeah, the first kill here, flashbomb by Nami. It will be on RNG's attempt to re-engage.
Right.
The second part here, this is the most cool part to me because I like to give 100% credit to the players. I'm going to say from the moment they saw Nidalee coming down, they were like, heal bait, heal bait, heal bait. We're going to bait this because Ambition could easily have stopped and blocked that spear, but he chose to let it hit the Karma, juicy target. MLXG takes it, hook, line, and sinker.
That's some crazy creativity about it. I won't block it for you. I'll let you bait him in.
I mean, either way, though, what this move showed, though, was that Samsung Galaxy was responding to what RNG had done in previous games, in that Uzi and Mata had taken very powerful lanes and had shoved in early and created those giant CS leads for Uzi. Ambition decides to do something about it this time, comes away with 2 kills for himself. That gives him the level advantage. We talk about, MLXG on Nidalee expecting to create a lead. Well, all of a sudden that lead is gone because 2 kills go over to Ambition.
And it's a pre-6 gank from Skarner. I guess Caitlyn probably didn't even respect that could possibly happen. That's just the reality. It was good timing there. And then the overextension for that second kill, that's not the RNG we saw the last 2 days. That's the kind of disrespectful play that we saw against EDG that kind of held them back in the summer season, and yet they returned to it on the 3rd time out against Samsung.
All right, so now let's push ourselves forward to our next replay, which is going to come 23 minutes into the game. This is a 4-for-1 for Samsung Galaxy, plus a Baron. This is the big one.
And this is right after taking that Dragon. But for some reason, Xiaohu is just dancing with Skarner right in front. And Kennen, he doesn't even need to TP to flank this fight. You're going to have Ruler being able to have a really nice ultimate setup from here, just completely untouched, and it's just clean up duty for Crown. And from this play, they're going to be able to pick up a Baron that is just going to snowball them to the victory.
I think ultimately we saw that Samsung Galaxy is a team that is comfortable with that lead, with that Baron buff. They knew how to use it. I'm going to push us forward now to our game-winning fight just to close out the gameplay itself. Let's take a look.
At this point, Samsung are way, way ahead, but it was all about the pick coming through from Ambition. They have so many initiation tools. They just tunnel in on MLXG. He's able to drop aggro for just a little bit, but at this point, Q,
that was such a nice flash proto bell in, and you just see them get so low, and this Karma shield speed is going to help Crown be able to flash in for that final kill. And believe it or not, they're going to be able to push from that kill to actually end the game off 1-1 fight near the blue buff.
Look at that gold graph just explode. That was that 4-for-1 in the mid lane, plus the Baron snowballing to the end.
That's that slow play style, being able to just play it calm and collected. I mean, I was kind of criticizing it at first, but if that's your style and it gets you the win, by all means, go for it.
And I don't think it's going to surprise anyone that Ambition is going to pick up our player of the game here with that early move on Skarner, and then kind of leading the charge for the team in those engages and picks, and ultimately driving them to victory. His first time here at Worlds, Kobe, and he's showing up.
I mean, both Sven and Ambition pick Skarner, get MVP. Good champion?
Well, I mean, when you can just click R and start the fight, I guess it's okay. It's a lot easier to look good. But now I want to zoom out here and talk about this Group D for just a brief moment, because as we mentioned, we now have ourselves a 3-way tie here up at 2-1 for each of the teams. But I thought what the casters mentioned was very interesting in that in 2 of the games that Splice played, they were at times in contention or in a position to maybe take a victory, which makes week 2 all that much more scary for those 3 teams sitting at the top of the table.
I mean, those 3 teams at the top are the 3 teams of why we're saying this is the group of death coming into it. Group of D. As soon as people saw the group draw, like, who exactly is getting out of this? Yeah, some people have a preference for one over the other, but those 3 are very close. And now that they've all exchanged games, with Splice being the only one to kind of donate and bump everybody up, week 2 gets very, very interesting.
The excitement's so high just because all 3 of these teams that are 2-1 have shown defined weaknesses and strength. And then you have Splice nipping at the heels in 2 games. Okay, blown away in 1, but I don't think Splice are going to go 0-6. They're going to take a victory, and that might be pivotal in deciding who gets out of this group and who doesn't.
And I think for pivotal things that the junglers are so important for this, and I think that teams are starting to really pick up onto clinching that jungle pool and really understanding how important the early pressure is. And the Skarner, the fact that he can get away from the laning phase and come out ahead, as we saw in the TSM game, as we saw in this game, that's kind of worrying. You don't want to see a Skarner being able to just, for some reason, put out more pressure than the early game junglers. And if the teams can really crack down on this and really punish that next time around, we're going to see a lot more, maybe, what's the...
I don't know. I don't know where you're going.
I don't know where I'm going with
I
this.
wish I could help you.
Is it
Yeah, right. 2 words?
animal?
3 syllables?
We're going to see more
what is-
proactivity from the early game junglers.
There it is.
Okay.
I love it. All right. Well, that's probably my signal to close out the day. And at the end of the 3rd day of competition, let's have a look at how our groups stand. Now, the Rocks Tigers are on top of Group A with their 2-0 record. Korea's 2nd seed holds 1st place in Group B. Group C will get the chance to shake up their 4-way tie tomorrow. And 3 2-1 teams, RNG, TSM, and Samsung, are knotted up in Group D. That brings us to tomorrow because the fight continues as we complete the 1st round robin of the group stages here at the 2016 World Championship. First, it's Group C where AHQ will go up against INTZ Esports, followed by EDG versus H2K. Then Albus Nox Luna takes on G2 as Group A takes to the stage. And later on, it's SKT versus Flash Wolves in Group D. Now, those matches kick off at 4 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. That's 1 a.m. for those of you observing CEST. Now, there's more coverage coming your way in just a few minutes as Shocks, Stress, and Freak look back on the day's key moments, and in another edition of Worlds Tonight. My goodness, it is a long day. All right, but that's going to do it for us. So on behalf of everyone here covering the action in San Francisco, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you right back here tomorrow as the fight for the Summoners Cup continues at Worlds 2016.